meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation and pledge to the American flag. Father, again, it is with grateful hearts that you have allowed us to come and to transact the business of this great county. And we just thank you for that opportunity, and we pray for your guidance and your wisdom in all things that we deliberate. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Let me be sure my cell phone's off so that, so that I don't fuss at y'all. All right. First item is consideration of a resolution to approve the agenda. Stephanie, let the record show that as of beginning of the meeting, Mr. Mason has not made it yet. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. I ask that public comments be limited to the agenda items only, and noted that all documents from this meeting and all meetings are located in the clerk's office and on the Board of Commissioners website. First item under old business table from January 21st is consideration to approve change order number 6 with Reeves E. Worrell for the construction of the Sheriff's Office. Mr. Cobeck.
Yes. If you'll allow me, I'd like to run us through a timeline of expenditures, and then I'll run us through a timeline of funding sources. In September 2011, the board executed a design build contract with Reeves Worrell for the design and construction of the new sheriff's office and jail. In May 2012, the board released Reeves Worrell to complete the construction drawings and final pricing. In July 2012, the board released the contract to begin with pre-engineering of precast cell design. And in September, the board elected to finance the project through the certificates of participation in an effort to continue SPLOST payments to the cities and to ease the cash flow concerns. In December 2012, the board released the contract to begin construction on phase 1, which included the jail and prison modifications. The total value of the construction contract at that time was for $14,580,994. That work is now nearing its completion. Staff requested board approval to break the project into phases since there were unknowns such as final cost of the sheriff's office and buyout savings and the use of contingency that was included in phase 1. And we would have more information at the completion of phase 1. Last month, staff brought a change order to the board to release the contractor to begin with the construction of the final phase of the project, which is the sheriff's office. The total construction value of that contract is $1,892,684. And these costs are offset by a return of project savings, which is made up by the unused contingency and buyout savings. The total cost of the change order is therefore a net of $938,557. This will bring the design build contract to a total of $16,172,966. There is a contingency of roughly $53,000 that is included in the sheriff's office package. There are also items that are the county's responsibility as well, such as furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which we call FF&E, data and video cabling, and construction materials testing, utilities, the trailer, the kitchen relocation costs that we incurred that are not included in the design builder's contract. The total cost of phase 1 of which is the jail, including the county responsible items, is $14,482,940.75. The total cost of phase 2, which is the sheriff's office, including construction, and our estimates for the county responsible items is $1,977,644. The combined construction of all items and the county's responsible items is $16,460,624.75. Those are all of the expenditures that have been proposed or are now before you, or approved or now before you. Since we now have a total cost, let's go to
You said 16 million, 18 million?
16 million.
On mine, it's got 18 million, total anticipated expenditures 18 million.
That includes financing costs.
Okay, okay.
The project was included in the 2012 SPLOST as a Tier 1 project at $16 million. Jail construction staffing fund at that time had approximately $425,000, and those are fees that are fines that are collected from the courts to be used for this project. When the project originally began, a total of $16,425,000 was anticipated to cover all project costs. In December 2013, the board voted to use $85,000 in impact fees to cover a portion of the jail project, and we shifted $1,116,879 from unused 2007 SPLOST fund. In September, like I said earlier, the board elected to finance the project. The total cost of financing is $1,908,256, which includes all closing costs and interest. The county shifted project savings from the 2007 SPLOST to ease the shifting scope of the project. The total amount of funds deposited into the county accounts from the bond proceeds was $16,003,824.80. All of these figures have been included in a summary sheet, which is on page 3 of 6, which is entitled Jail and Sheriff's Complex Funding Recap as of 2/3/14. At the top, you find all of the project capital, or the funds that we intended to do that. You'll see the proceeds from the certificates of participation, the jail construction staffing fund, that $517,749 is where we currently are. And we also included $210,000 what we anticipate to receive in jail construction staffing fund over the next 3 years. You'll also see the $1,116,000 from our SPLOST set aside from 2007 and our $85,000 for impact. That leaves us a total available funding of $17,933,452.80. Down below that, you'll see the jail project where we list our expenses, which is a total cost of financing of $1,908,256, a total project cost of $14,482,940.75 for the jail project, and a total project cost of the sheriff's office of $1,977,684, and a total expenditures of $18,368,881.29. The difference between the total capital of $17,933,452 and our total project cost of $18,368,000 is $435,428.49. There are several important things to note. The original estimate of $16 million was created in 2010 or early 2011 in preparation for the 2012 SPLOST referendum. The overall gap is 2% of the overall cost of the project, which is nearly 4 years after the original estimates were made. The project went through an exhaustive VE process, which is value engineering, in mid-2012, when the original estimate was returned at over $3 million over budget. Adjustments were made to everything from furniture and fixtures, materials testing, square footage reductions, and scope reductions to bring the project within budget. When we reviewed the figures in December 2012, after the decision was made to finance the project, staff knew that funds would be tight. As such, we requested to break the project into phases. We based the assumption on the unknowns such as buyout savings, the use of contingency funds, and the final cost of the sheriff's office, which did increase from the estimate of the sheriff's office from an original $1.633 million in 2012 to $1.892 in currently. Options to solve the gap in funding. We can capture the savings from 2012. If you'll notice there at the bottom of the sheet that finance has prepared, funds necessary to complete. We can capture the savings from the 2012 projects that are already completed. That is $281,849 in savings from the Goshen Road Fire Station, $14,412 from the ambulance remounts that are now complete, $200,000 in projected savings from the Public Works facility, and $5,519 from the Goshen generator. That leaves us a total of $501,780. The $501,000 has been adjusted throughout the entirety of the short-term work program. Most notably, it shows up in the tower cost. You remember when we redid our plans, we added the tower expense down at the bottom. We took all of our savings and plugged that number down in there. The financing for the towers is set up on a 10-year repayment schedule, so all the funds will not be required prior to the expiration of our 2012 SPOS. It's also important to remember that some projects in the short-term work program are pending future decisions. So we have things that we don't know the true cost of. Those are, for example, the short-term work program includes 290,000 in tandem axle dump trucks, which we currently do not need. We shifted those into, I believe, year 4 of the funding veins. We also surplused a sizable amount of equipment from Public Works, and they now have the net proceeds from that was roughly $186,000, $180,000. With fire stations and service pending still negotiations, we may or may not need all 4 fire stations that are budgeted. We may or may not have fire apparatus that are budgeted. We also have the social services building at nearly $1 billion that we haven't made any decisions on, and on the park, which still has $350,000 attached to that. The short-term work program is a living document, and some items will inevitably shift up or down as the projects begin and we get further decisions.
So all of what you just said, the $186,000 is the only real number that we got from the surplus sale that we actually have that we didn't have?
No, sir. The funds from Goshen, that project was closed. It was below our budgeted figure. So that was a total of $281,849.
Okay.
We got that physically. The ambulance remounts, those ambulance remounts are pegged at $90,000. They came in, I think it was 90.
From our last meeting.
That's correct. And they came in at $14,000 below. The only anticipated savings is the $200,000 when we shifted Public Works fleet maintenance facility from $750,000 down to $500,000.
Okay, all right. So we've got a project that is not complete. Sheriff's here for the record, and I presume he would like to have a home. Would that be correct, sir?
One that's not falling apart would be nice.
And we don't want to make mistakes that we made before, or not we, but a prior commission made. So we don't want to build a facility that's going to be falling apart. So with the funds that is outlined right here, staff has shown us how we can pay for it. We can complete and have a good facility that's not going to be falling apart, and do the job the sheriff needs.
Yes, sir. The current construction of the sheriff's office is contemplated here is tilt wall construction. It encompasses 18,544 square feet. It leaves 6,000 in shell space for future expansion, and the sheriff currently operates in roughly 10,000 square feet of office space.
Well, it looks to me like, and you know, I'm new on this, but it looks to me like somewhere in all of the projections, there was the cost, the project interest and the project closing cost looked like it didn't fall into the mix of the dollars that hit the project somehow. I mean, that's what it looks like to me.
I believe that there's a mixture. The project is slightly over its projections and its estimates. When we originally thought that we were solving for a sheriff's office, we thought that price would be around 1.6. At that point, we had 80% construction drawings, and we had to deliver them to the street for market pricing. When they finalized the drawings and went back out, it came back in 1.8. That's obviously one part of the issue. The second part is financing costs have to be covered from a portion of the project cost.
And that's basically because of the way that we chose to do it, so that the impact on the cities wasn't going to be as significant as it was if we would have taken all that money up front. But is that a fair statement?
I think part of the issue was the fact that we went ahead and did the certificates of participation.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do, I guess. Long story short, we didn't have the cash to build it, so we had to finance it. If we were going to do it now, we were going to have to wait until August money came in, but $16 million at the end of several years.
That's correct.
So-
And the estimates from the time we did that in September to the time that we got the estimates in December, as Adam has pointed out, were almost $3 million over what the initial estimates were.
The day we knew we were going to finance it, we knew we had the interest, basically.
Correct.
But, you know, there is a lot that plays into it, and a couple of things, I came in there to try to be sure I had a good understanding of all the numbers, and there's one plus that, there's a lot of things when you get into this, you don't see it till you really get down deep in the numbers, and one of the things that was mentioned yesterday is even when we went to do the sell the bonds, in order to get the value of the 16 million, because we made a premium on the bonds, we only sold about 15.2 in bonds to get the 16, so we had the $800,000 premium in there. You don't even see that, you're not aware of that.
Yeah.
But that's a plus back to us, so.
But all I'm trying to do is get a grasp, because in my opinion, and this board has to vote one way or the other, but in my opinion, we can't stop. We've got to finish it, and I'm about finishing it correctly and not doing something halfway. And that's what I want to be sure that it's done right, so that we're not going to be faced 2-3 years from now with leaking walls and.
And that's basically what we said the last meeting.
And I think that's why it was brought to you in two different parts. Once staff was aware that the original estimates were about $3 million over, they worked to pare those things down and to get it down to where we had a substantial building and a good building, but at the same point in time that we understood those costs. That's why we're at phase 2 at this point, is to relook at where we are, what those costs were, and to ensure that we can do the exact same thing, and that is to build a good building.
And I will say, as far as to give some credit to the sheriff's department, I spoke to Sheriff McDuffie yesterday, and he did mention they made several concessions because the cost was over. And while he doesn't want to scrimp on anything he needs, he has made some concessions along the way on things that he thought he could.
Well, that's what I'm fixing to ask. Sheriff, since you're here, I'd like, if you've got anything to say as to apparently you've looked at this numbers, you've been in it from day one going through this thing. Are you happy with the project, and is it going to fill your needs and the needs of other sheriffs if so elected?
Yes, sir, I think so. The project has been looked at and re-looked at, and we've gone over it tremendously. You can baffle me with them numbers, I ain't got a clue what all that says. If somebody don't pay for it, I know how to serve silver papers on it. But the building itself, we've gone through, we walk through it on a weekly basis and look at it, try to keep and find any issues that we might have now with it. Everything seems to be going pretty good. There's some things that we had to give up that we didn't want to give up, but the cost just got to be where it wasn't feasible, so we had to do that.
But are they necessities? Are they anything that in any way jeopardizes the integrity of the building or the security of the building?
No, sir.
Okay. I mean, sometimes we can give up wants and proof-throughs, as I call them. But I don't want to put you in a building that, like you come out of, because that building has been bad for a long time.
Well, and I don't know if staff has advised y'all or not, but we've lost a second boiler now. So we're down to 1 out of 3. And we're having to move inmates on a nightly basis over to the next section of the jail so they can get warm showers. We're not going to buy an $18,000 boiler to put in a building to tear down in a couple months.
You have to give them warm showers?
That's what they say.
All for the old days.
But it's a lot better than what we've got. It'll meet our needs. And Adam has told you on a couple of occasions, we're in a $10,000 square foot building now, and we'll go to an 18. But the part that you don't understand is my crime scene unit's in a building out back. My humane enforcement, my animal control, they're in a handy house out back. My drug unit's out on the hill. By building this addition, we'll be able to bring all that back in-house. We won't have to worry about water bills at 2 or 3 buildings and all this other kind of stuff. So it's actually going to save us, I think, a good little bit of money on the backside once we can put it all together.
And clerical, and you've got battery backups and stuff out there, so it's all going to be in one building.
Yes.
Okay. You got any other thing you want to say?
Hurry.
I try to, but every time I hurry, I see these fellows with the blue lights and all these nice cars, and they seem to want me to slow down, so I try to hurry.
Well, they
Oh, you're
appreciate
talking about
that as well.
Okay.
The only other thing I'd like to add is that there, you'll notice that we talked about 501,000, and the gap is 435. We made that recommendation just to make sure that we don't have to come back and say we don't have money again, number one. Number two, I do want you to be aware that this building plan does contemplate reusing structural steel as the foundation. So we have a $53,000 contingency there. We hope that we never have to touch that, but obviously I want you to know that those are the only unknowns in this project, unlike the jail where we were doing geotechnical and deep footers and all.
So you're asking for this board really to give you authority to use all of these potential fundings from 2007 up to that amount, am I correct? Whether you need it or not.
The approval to use this one?
That's the way
Yes,
I
sir.
understand it. You're
Yes, sir.
wanting approval from this board to use those funds.
Yes, and one of the things Adam said in his review was that it was 2012. They aren't, that Mr. Kessler was correct, they're $2,007.
Oh, it's 2000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize. I thought you meant we had not realized those savings yet.
Gotcha. Any questions from any board members? Any other input from staff? I'll entertain a motion if somebody wants to give it to me.
I make a motion that we approve alternative number 1 and fund the remaining portion of the contract and project.
Second.
All right, alternative number 1, as I read it, is change order number 6.
Staff recommendation. Correct?
And I apologize. The chairman requested that we need approval to use those funds to the $501,000. I only need change order number 6, so I believe that's why I was asking Joanna. She does need that approval. So.
I tried to make my motion in a way that was clear whether or not we want more wordage added to it. And we use the specified funds. That's why I said funded,
I thought you just said staff alternative number 1.
and I said fund the remaining portion of the project.
Okay, I didn't hear that. And your second is good for that? Was that-
Yes.
Any other discussion, question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Now that we've got the money, now that we've got the approval, the sheriff says, hurry.
Don't rush it too much. Build it right. If we have to go a little longer, we good.
All right, new business, consideration to accept a quote and issue a services contract to Modern Business for the furnishing and installation of new jail furniture.
All right. Jail does need a couple pieces of furniture. These funds are included in the recap of expenses. All the items that we have, we're either replacing old, providing for new spaces. We're providing for some new lobby seating. Obviously, we have 2 lobbies now. We have a community hearing room seating that we're not recommending. We do have some side chairs and some task chairs for offices that used to be deep within the bowels of the prison that are now closer to public spaces. We have some new 24-hour chairs for nurses, booking, and intake. We publicly bid the package for these furnishings. These are all for seating. Casino or Castellano Designs in Colorado provided the lowest price, but they will not be on site for delivery and setup, and the county will be responsible for warranty issues and our own returns. The difference between the second place bidder, which is a local Savannah firm and Modern Business, is $276.71. However, they will be on site for delivery and setup and will handle warranty issues and returns. Staff recommends awarding the bid to Modern Business for these reasons. Staff does not recommend accepting the entire bid. We recommend removing the 52 seats from the community room. We feel like we could buy those from a local retailer at a lower cost. And while we won't receive the exact same chair, we will believe we can get a chair that will suffice for approximately $3,500. Therefore, staff recommends the approval of Modern Business quote without accepting the community room seating option of $7,292.48 for a total quote acceptance of $18,608.23, with the understanding that the county will purchase the community room seating through the purchasing office. And therefore, the total for furnishing the video for the jail will be $22,108.
Says funding was already accounted for in the jail budget.
In the jail recap, we just went over, yes, ma'am.
What we just voted on,
Yes, ma'am.
funding was already there.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe another dumb question, but why would you not have just presented that to the board without that alternative in there and asked us to approve that contract for that amount?
I do apologize for that. Due to my absence, and I didn't, we were still pricing the options when we put this on the agenda
Okay,
for those seats.
fair answer, but
Technically, if you didn't want to do it, you could pull it out.
Correct. I just felt like redoing the entire staff report bid recap just to take that out.
all right, so the new contract amount would be
$18,608.23,
18,608.23.
and we request the use of $3,500 to purchase the community room seating. We priced them anywhere from $25 to $65, so we just, I think I used like $65 times 52 to come up with it.
All right, so you're asking, the funding is already in what we've already done, so you're asking for approval for me to sign a contract with this for the 18,608.23.
The attorney has some minor modifications, none of which are of substance, and I don't say that like that, I mean, you know.
Say that again.
So we found a couple of dot periods left out.
No, there are some typos also in the, there was some language from the standard form contract that was referenced in there that didn't apply to this particular contract, so I took that out.
And the vendor doesn't need a contract, I verified that today. So in the event that we need a contract, completely fine. Fiona was under the impression that since they'll be on site, it might be good to get their liability, just have that contract in place since they'll be on site. So that's completely the leisure of the board.
Right, the language that was taken out had to do with insurance requirements that obviously is not necessary for this type of contract.
Okay.
So you need the 18,608.23 plus 3,500?
Correct.
You need two separate motions or put
I think it could be
together
in one.
What's 3,500 for again?
Community
Seating?
room seating.
Yeah, I'll be in two separate motions.
You ought to recommend 2 separate motions.
Is it covered in one contract or?
No.
Okay, okay. That's
The
good.
one is through purchasing.
These chairs we bought for the 911 center, and when I looked at this particular bid, I was like, why don't we get the same ones we got for the 911 center and save ourselves those dollars?
Yeah, if it's not in the same contract, I would do the motion separate.
Yes.
Any other questions? I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the contract for the chairman to sign for the 18,608.23 as staff has recommended.
Second. Motion and a second, that is with Modern Builders Business.
Yes.
Okay. I just always like to be sure because I'm signing. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Motion?
Make a motion to approve $3,500 for community room seating as staff has recommended.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Next item of business, consideration to accept a quote and issue a services contract to furnish and install video and data wiring at the jail expansion.
As we mentioned earlier, there are county responsibilities and administrative data cabling and video distribution is our responsibility. We publicly advertised this and we had bids returned. We actually held a pre-award meeting with several vendors to confirm our video distribution plan of action. Aiken Harbor returned the lowest bidder of $52,951, of which $50,000 is included in the summary we just reviewed. Staff recommends awarding the bid to Aiken Harbor. Staff still has 3 to 5 lingering questions with Comcast on the video distribution system that we would like to confirm. As a result, we would like to request that you approve the contract with Aiken Harbor, and that you allow staff to issue the notice to proceed on the video distribution system, so that if we don't need to use that, if we get a better option, we have the flexibility to do that. I talked to the contractor today. He said he has no problem with that. He does need, as soon as possible, the answer. I contacted the head of Comcast in Savannah to try to get to the bottom of our questions. We've been asking questions now for 2 weeks and haven't got the requested response yet.
Good luck. I've been waiting for 2 months.
We had a Comcast representative that was assigned to the project that helped us out throughout the entire thing. Apparently, he's been transferred, so they tell you to call somebody else. I called him twice, send an email twice, yet to get a response. So I'm certain that I'll get a response now. Contact him.
Hey, Harper, they're our on-call maintenance, right?
And what are you still trying to get clarification on?
The video distribution package is a series of televisions to get television to the inmates as well as multimedia solutions for the sheriff's office, the community room, and multimedia for the lobby. The question that we have is simply, can Comcast provide us a better solution out of a box like they would in a hotel that will be sufficient for our needs? What we need to be able to do is change channels without giving inmates remotes or access to the television.
So you're saying that if Comcast can do it for the same amount or cheaper, then you want the option?
To withhold that portion of Aiken's contract, not to issue the notice to proceed with Aiken, just tell them you're released to do this and we'll give you a separate notice to proceed on the second one pending our final review.
All right.
So,
Your number is $52,951.
Yes,
The amount in what we just approved for y'all to spend is 50.
yes.
So where's the other, is this 2951 part of that contingency funds that we,
It would have to come from there.
okay.
Well, no, you've got the savings on the chairs.
We got savings on the shares,
I understand.
so that would officially be available.
Have a washout.
so what you want to do, ask for a motion to approve the Aiken Harper contract and hold back, and allow staff to give the motion to proceed
Yes,
on the second,
yes, on the video distribution board.
on video distribution.
We're in a very tight time frame. We did this thing, we had the pre-award meeting just for this thing because we're still awaiting questions from Comcast.
Well, the full reason to do that at this point is because you may be able to save money, so I need to do that, make you be able to save money if you can.
And then if we can't, and we say that's the end, we have no more thing, they've already got a contract, we just say go ahead and start.
Right.
So could we make a motion to, since this was a bid, we need to narrow down who we're awarding the contract with. Staff has recommended Aiken Harper, which is the lowest bid, but we want to give staff flexibility within this bid to section part of it out to Comcast if it is a cost savings to do so.
Yes. Typically, Comcast, depending on the answer that we get, the service that we get from Comcast, number one, we're under an enterprise license agreement that Comcast is always adhered to.
Okay.
It's
So-
all coming from Comcast. It's
Right.
already coming from Comcast. It's a matter of which way we're going to go with Comcast, and that's why they can give them a notice to proceed on this or on this.
Okay. I don't have a problem with it, I just want to be sure that I understand what we're doing.
Unless they came back and said we need you to sign a contract for this solution with Comcast, then I would have to bring that back for you, and I would tell Aiken Harper not to do it.
Aiken Harper's going through Comcast.
Correct.
Okay.
Comcast is still providing cable television.
You're just giving the staff the option of deciding which way to go at the end.
That's right.
I'm with you. Any questions? Motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the Aiken Harper contract and give staff the flexibility to provide the motion to proceed on which way to go with the video distribution package.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right. Last order of business, and we're out by 5:30? No.
No.
You got something on?
I was just surprised.
All right. I am told that we have a need for an executive session.
motion to go in executive session, to discuss personnel, property, and pending litigation. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed?
None opposed.
We stand adjourned into executive session.